Let's speak English. Английska. Мова Шекспіра та нью-йоркських таксистів. Англійська. Стане у нагоді вам, бойські дівчиська.
Hello everyone, my name is Anna. I am an English teacher. Today we're going to continue our journey around the world and across the English-speaking countries. So we have already been to Great Britain and today we're going to the USA. I am sure that you have heard a lot of things about the USA. So now you're going to hear some interesting facts about this country, and after that we are going to visit 2 states of this country. So let's continue our journey. So the USA, United States of America. So it consists of the states and there are 50 of them. But what is interesting about this country? So the first fact. The most populated city, the biggest city of the USA is New York. That's for sure. It is followed by other 2 cities, which are Los Angeles and Chicago. The second fact here is that James and Mary are the most popular names that are given in the United States. So can you imagine all James and Marys going around you in the USA? There are lots of them. So the third fact, Americans consume 3 billion pizzas per year. Can you imagine? That's almost the half amount of people who live in the world, but in pizzas. The fourth fact, there is an official rock, paper, scissors game, the league, in the USA. What is rock, paper, scissors? You probably know that game in Ukrainian, which is камінь, ножиці, папір, but that's in English. So rock, paper, scissors. That's the game that actually has an official league. Can you imagine that to be a real sport? And there it is, in the USA. And the fifth fact, the last one, Hawaii is the most recent of the 50 states of America. So, and now let's go to the Hawaii. That's actually an island, and this is a state of the United States of America, which is the only state that is situated on an island. On a few islands, of course. So, these islands and the Hawaii state are all located in the Pacific Ocean. So, and the only US state located outside North America and the only island state is Hawaii. In the slide, you can see the pictures that actually illustrate the things that most people associate with Hawaii. So you can see the people dancing, and that's the traditional Hawaiian dance. They are wearing the skirts that are also traditional Hawaiian skirts. They are wearing the flower wreaths. Those are also the traditional ones. You can see the coconut, the seashore in the Hawaii Islands, and me surprised with those facts. Okay, now let's get to the reading exercise, which actually will tell you about a very famous person that was born on the Hawaii Islands. So, let's start. Choose the correct options to complete the stories. Story 1. The sun was shining when Bethany Hamilton arrived at the beach on a beautiful morning in Hawaii. But hours later, the young teenager was surfing out at the sea when a shark attacked her and she lost her left arm. Amazingly, Bethany was swimming back to the beach with one arm, and as she was swimming, she told other surfers to get out of the water. So, now our task is to choose the correct options. As you can see, the words in the cursive are our options, so we need to choose one that seems to be correct. So, let's start with the first sentence. The sun was shining when Bethany Hamilton arrived at the beach. So, we are describing a situation here, we are describing the circumstances, so in this case we will definitely need to use the past continuous, which is was shining. So, the sun was shining when Bethany arrived. Сонечко світило, коли Беттані приїхала на пляж. The second sentence now. But hours later, the young teenager surfed or was surfing out at the sea when a shark attacked her. Отже, Декілька годин по тому серферка випливала з моря, коли на неї напала акула. So was that a continuous action as she was swimming? Yeah, we can assume that. So here we also will choose the ing ending, and here is the option that we need to choose. It was surfing. But hours later, the young teenager was surfing out at the sea when a shark attacked her. And the last sentence. Amazingly, Bethany swam or was swimming back to the beach with one arm. So we're actually talking about the finished action here, that she managed to do it. Ми говоримо тут про завершену дію. Беттані це вдалося зробити, тому маємо вживати простий минулий час, which is swam, past simple. So here it is, a story about Bethany, who was swimming and surfing at Hawaii, and her arm was bitten by a shark. So she is actually a very famous and a very successful surfer now, and now you know an amazing story of this girl. So now we're going to another state of the USA. We're going to Colorado. We're going to visit the city of Denver. There you will hear another amazing story about another amazing person. And actually you will hear about even two amazing people. So Denver, Colorado, the USA. Denver is the capital city of the state of Colorado. It has the most population in all the state. It is located just east of the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains. I bet you have heard of them. Rocky Mountains, one of the famous mountains in the USA. Wild Wild West. Who hasn't heard of that? You probably have seen and heard of some Western movies, and actually Colorado, Denver was the main city where the events at those times were happening. Отже, Денвер, Колорадо – це те місто, в якому розгортались події Золотої лихоманки на дикому заході. Отже, Wild Wild West Gold Rush started here in 1858. So that was the year when it all started. Okay, now as you know something about Denver, Colorado, we are going to hear about something amazing that has happened to people in this city. Our task is to choose the correct options, once again, to complete the stories. Story 2. It was a normal afternoon at Denver Airport, but as Flight 455 was taken off, passengers were seeing a fire from the window. Immediately, the plane's captain realized that the engines weren't working, and radioed for help. While passengers were running towards the front exits, Maria Garza pulled her daughter through the window exit next to the wing. So, this is an amazing story which happened in Denver a few years ago. And now, let's choose the correct options in the sentences. Let's start with the first sentence. So, it was a normal afternoon at Denver Airport, but as Flight 455 was taken off, passengers saw or were seeing a fire from the window. So, they actually saw the fire, that's what we have to say, because it was a one-time finished action. What about the second sentence? Immediately, the plane's captain realized that the engines didn't work or weren't working. So, are we describing the circumstances, or are we describing the action that just happened? Well, we are describing the circumstances here. Here we will need to say that the engines weren't working. While passengers ran or were running towards the front exits, Maria pulled her child through the window exit. So, the passengers, they just ran, or were they running for some time? Well, running is an activity that takes a little bit more time than just stand up, run, and you're finished. Well, running is a continuous action here, so we will need to say that while the passengers were running. Okay, and now there is a question for you to consider. Which story do you think is the most interesting? To me personally, Bethany's stories is more amazing. So, now let's move to the grammar and actually we're going to talk about the continuous tenses. The only one that we are going to talk about today is past continuous. Last time we were talking about past simple tense, the actions that actually just happened and they are finished in the past. Now we're going to talk about the tense that describes the continuous long actions in the past. Let's take a look on the board. Past continuous. Here is the structure of how we form the sentences in past continuous. На дошці ви можете побачити структуру формування речень у past continuous, минулому продовжуваному часі, який ми використовуємо для того, щоб описувати певні дії, які відбувалися протягом певного часу в минулому. Довгі дії, продовжувані. So that's what the past continuous is for. Let's take a look at the structure. We need the verb to be in two forms in the past simple. It's either was or were. That depends on the person we are talking about. So with I, he, she, it, we use was. With you, we, they, we use were. Let's take a look at the positive sentences and the examples. I was playing. You were playing. Negative sentence. He wasn't playing. We weren't playing. So when we compare the positive and negative sentences in the past continuous, we can notice that to make the negative sentences, we simply need to add particle not. Отже, для того, щоб утворити заперечувальне речення в past simple, нам необхідно просто додати часточку not, заперечувальну частку, до допоміжного дієслова was або were. Ми можемо вживати частку not у повній своїй формі, а можемо її скорочувати. Отже, як бачимо на дошці, скорочення wasn't та weren't. Questions are made by using the verb to be, once again, was or were, in the beginning. So we will start our question sentences by using was or were in the front position. Let's take a look at the examples. Was she playing? Were they playing? Don't forget about the question mark in the questions. So, and if we need the short answers, якщо нам необхідно дати коротку відповідь на запитання, ми будемо говорити таким чином. Yes, she was. No, she wasn't. Або yes, they were. No, they weren't. So this is the structure of the past continuous. Once again, we use it to talk about long actions in the past. So past continuous is also used for different actions. We use the past continuous to talk about the following situations. Talk about activities in progress at a moment in the past. For example, at 8 o'clock yesterday, I was reading the Chronicles of Narnia book. The second one, we can use the past continuous to describe scenes in a story or a description. It was a great day. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and everything was so beautiful. The third one, we can talk about an activity that was in progress when another, shorter activity happened and interrupted it. We use the past continuous. I was reading the book when I heard someone knocking on the door. Number 4, while and as are often used with the past continuous. While or as I was walking down the street, I saw Jane. And the last usage, state verbs are usually not used in the continuous. We can say, I liked The Simpsons when I was a teenager, but we cannot say that I was liking The Simpsons. So state verbs cannot be used in the continuous forms. Now let's get to practice. We're going to do an exercise to practice the past continuous tense. Our task is to make the sentences using past continuous. Our task is to open the brackets and put the verbs into the correct forms. Let's take a look at the first sentence. John played tennis at 3 o'clock. В цьому реченні ми говоримо про те, що Джон грав у теніс о 3 годині. Тобто ми говоримо про дію, яка відбувалася в конкретний час у минулому. Вживаючи past continuous, не забуваємо, що для осіб в третій особі ми використовуємо was. Тому ми скажемо, що John was playing tennis at 3 o'clock. Number 2. Mr. and Mrs. Green not eat in the dining room when the murder happened. So we need to say that they were not doing something when another activity happened. Тобто ми тут говоримо про дію, яка відбувалась, продовжувалась, коли інша дія трапилась під час цієї дії і перервала її або просто трапилась. Отже, нам необхідно поставити not eat у past continuous form. Так як Mr. та Mrs. Green, that's plural, so there are many people, well, at least two, we will need the verb were. So, were not eating in the dining room. We can shorten the form of the verb here, so we can use the short form weren't. Weren't eating in the dining room. Number 3. I write letters all day yesterday. Вчора весь день я писав листи. Для того, щоб про це сказати англійською мовою, маємо вжити past continuous. So, I was writing letters all day yesterday. Number 4. What you do when I phoned yesterday. So, we want to know what continuous action the person was doing when we phoned them. So, for that one, for this action, we will need to put the verb do in the continuous form, and as we're asking about you, we will need the form of the verb to be were. What were you doing when I phoned yesterday? Number 5. She watched TV when it happened. Чи дивилась вона телевізор, коли це сталося? We need to put the auxiliary verb was to the beginning of the sentence, as it is a question. Так як це питання, ми ставимо дієслово was наперед. Тому скажемо, що was she watching TV when it happened? Number 6. We revise all afternoon in the library. Ми весь вечір готувалися та повторювали у бібліотеці. So, revise has to be put into the continuous form. If it is we, so we are talking about us, plural form would be were. Then we will have to say that we were revising all afternoon in the library. Pay attention that letter E at the end of the verb revise has disappeared, and instead of it, we have used ing ending. And number 7, the last one here. We have a coffee when we heard the news on the radio. Отже, ми пили каву, коли почули новини на радіо. Once again, we have an interrupted action here. We need to use the past continuous, and we are talking about the plural once again, so after we use were and the ing form of have. So we were having a coffee. So, that's it with the exercise, and now let's check what you guys have learned from today's lesson. Now, let's summarize everything that we have learned. So here you have 3 questions to the content of today's lesson. Let's check what you've learned. Question number 1. In which ocean is the state of Hawaii situated? Do you remember that one? My emoji shows you that that's something silent. So actually, we're talking about the Pacific Ocean. That's right. The second question. Denver, Colorado is located near the mountains. Which mountains? Which kind of mountains? What's the name of those mountains? You can see the stars. Probably that's something about rock stars. And yeah, you've got it right. Those are Rocky Mountains, the Rocky Mountains. Denver, Colorado is situated right there. And the third question. Which 2 forms of the verb to be do we use in the past continuous tense? Right you are. Those are was and were. So guys, thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have worked well and hard, and we're going to see each other next time. Thank you and goodbye.